Hey y'all, welcome to the broadcast. These two friends of mine, we're getting ready to have a whole lot of fun. I've got a super fun video on tap for you guys today. First thing we got to do is drop by Ace, grab our straw bale, just in case we have a thunderstorm roll in early. We'll have that ready to start the fire up. But also on this video, we're going to talk about customers and relationships with them. And what prompted me to add that into this video is that big bush hogging job I showed you guys yesterday. The big one, the 6 acres, that's not going to happen, and I'm going to tell you why. Some of y'all are going to think I'm crazy, but this is how I start my fires. Anybody who's watched my channel for long has seen me do this. I'll soak this thing with diesel and motor oil, but if it gets rained on, and I'm not quite ready to burn, so there's a good chance that's going to happen, get you some of these big trash bags. And you can throw it in the back of your truck and leave it, and it'll stay dry. Wet straw bales, they don't burn too good, even with accelerant. Pull in here and get us a good healthy breakfast to start. Tuesday, June 4th, and we've already hit our first roadblock. And this is a shame on me. On the insides of these cylinders is a pin here and a pin there, and neither one of them is wanting to take grease. And if I'm being honest, they haven't been wanting to take grease. I haven't used it a whole lot since they quit, but I have, and I'm not sure why they're not taking grease. Could be a bad grease fitting. It could be that I've just run it too long and it might have, made some metal shavings that plug the hole on the pin that the grease goes through. Either way, that's bad. So don't follow my example. Never run a machine or an implement if any single grease fitting is not taking grease. Time to move forward with life. I can either stop today and take this and fix it. It's got these snap rings. I don't have my snap ring tool with me. I've got the 2 tilt grading buckets, so what I think I'll do, I don't need this bucket today. I'm gonna take it home and then I'll bring my other tilt grading bucket back with me. And this is why I like having 2 of everything. And that way, when I hit a slow period or just a really bad day where I can't work on anything else, I can get it in the garage, pull the pins out, and see what's going on. All right. I went ahead and moved my truck to where it's facing uphill because this bucket, if it's sitting flat, it tends to want to flop over, and I really, really don't want my toolbox getting banged up. That's a big old bucket for that little truck. I think it's gonna fit. I don't want to crush my generator though. I better move it. Got him. Let's get started with putting this digging bucket on, and then we'll talk a little bit about why I've decided not to take on that bush hogging job. We locked. Our brush piles, they're drying up really good. I'm happy with those. Those things will go up real fast as soon as we can get some rain in anyway. Right here is a prime example why I'm going to knock these off, because when I'm putting a pipe in or something, they're right in my line of sight, and they're in you guys' line of sight too. And that right there was probably the first time I've touched those sticks, and I have no idea how long. Scrape this mud off. Ew. I don't want to put that mud into my good pile and cover it up. So who knows what we'll need the clay for. And we want, that's really splattery. So back to the bush hogging job. All right, so when I'm talking to the customer yesterday, it was a good meeting initially, and I did tell them, unless I'm just going crazy and forgot, I told them, to get on the schedule, it's a 50% non-refundable deposit. And the way that works is if I think it's going to take me 1 to 2 days, I typically get 50% of what I think the minimum amount of time it's going to take me to do a job will be. And that was fine and dandy at the time. Well, then I messaged the customer to confirm that I'd be able to get there 17th of June, or the week of the 17th of June, and that as soon as I received that 50% deposit, it would lock them into my work lineup. It doesn't guarantee them a day, but it gets them in the lineup. And they sent me this text back. I'll put it up on the screen. And that right there was a red flag to me, because that showed me that they were picking and choosing what they wanted to hear of the conversation. And that is a problem with customers when they only hear what they're wanting to hear. Especially when it comes to deposits and payments and things like that. Because that's where at the end of the job they come up maybe not wanting to pay, which rarely happens with me. I'm real picky and quick to pick up on these red flags. Well, that stuff's digging good today. I'll just kind of throw up on the screen. I'm having to keep my editing to a minimum to get these daily videos out, but you'll be able to tell by the conversation how I took that response, and it's I don't mess around. I don't do the back and forth thing. If somebody says something like, "Well, I'm not comfortable doing that," it's like, well, that's fine. I completely understand, and I can understand where people have been done wrong, and maybe made deposits and contracts are run off or whatever, and that stinks. Those bad contractors make it hard on the rest of us. But that's just the luck of the draw. And a lot of customers make the mistake, and contractors make the mistake, that the customer is the one that's doing the accepting and declining. What I'm looking for when I'm talking to customers is a relationship. And a relationship, whether it be marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, any relationship is give and take. And being in the marriage I'm in right now, which is perfect with give and take, I have a low tolerance for anybody who wants to have any kind of a working relationship with me and it be all about them and them choosing. When I meet a customer, I'm meeting somebody and I want to leave there with the feeling that I could stand here and talk to this person for an hour, hour and a half after the job is done, because I like them, because it's almost like I want people that I'm going to look forward to going back to work for, and a customer should look for a contractor that they're going to want to work with time and time again. Now, this particular bush hogging job, they were looking to have done possibly twice a year. It would have paid $1,400 roughly. And I gave that up because of a bad feeling. Do I have so much work pouring in that doesn't matter? Not necessarily, but I do have enough work coming in to where I can afford easily to not accept a customer. And that's where it becomes a relationship. I'm picking them just as much as they're picking me. And when you first start your business, you may not have that. You may have to take some customers you don't necessarily have the best feelings about. But as you get more and more customers that are return customers and you can count on it, then that dynamic flips. And what you're looking for is kind of a median where customers are picking you and you have a rapport where you're desired as a contractor in your area, and that you can pick and choose a little bit. So in short, you can hire and fire customers just as quick as they can hire and fire you. I hope you guys like watching digging, because this may be all I get done today. It's so wet, bringing the skid steer down here may not be even worth the time. I don't think I could do a lot with it. And I do have bush hogging jobs and customers that I have accepted that if it gets to where I'm kind of a standstill here, that we can break away and go do those. It's not so wet that I'm comfortable burning. It's clear skies and it's hot today. Let me check real quick. Okay, so it's actually only about 75 degrees, and that's as hot as it's going to get today. But man, I'm telling you what, the humidity is so high, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. We need fuel. That's a big pile of dirt. This is a big hole. Just went online, submitted my application for the burn permit. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some of this good stuff here. Put it over my straw bale. Let's make sure that's not got a bunch of dirt in it. Oh no, that should work good. Let's make sure it's dry. Yeah, that's good. It's still pretty wet around here, especially in the shaded areas. I'm just not going to start a great big huge fire. We should be fine. Right over our hay bale, straw bale that is. Yeah, that stuff's thick. That might take a minute to get burning. Let's get one more grab. Let's see here. Oh yeah, that's gonna be some real good stuff right there. Oh yeah. I've got that stuff packed tight. So that's gonna be a lot of stuff to burn up. Set this stuff right here for now. Burn permits usually come through pretty fast. Almost instantly, really. Burn permit has been issued. Let's do it. There's a lot of fuel on that hay bale. Therefore, I'm wearing my safety glasses and I'm gonna light it from a distance. Stand back. Here we go. There she goes. Whew, it's already cooking. Just a few seconds after I got back in the machine. Like I say, we're going to take it easy on this today. We're not going to go too crazy. So I'm gonna kind of crisscross this stuff. We don't want to choke it out too bad. I'm gonna drop it so it fluffs it a little bit. Alright, we'll let that get going. While that smaller stuff gets going, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a couple of these bigger junk logs, because we'll need to get them burning really good to cook those stumps, and they will do it. That's a good little hot spot in there. Let's go ahead and put a little bit bigger stuff on it, just to kind of harness that heat. Got a couple of good pieces over here too I'd like to get on there. They'll stay. There we go. Let's stage a little bit more good stuff. That thing's getting ready to take off. I'm gonna run on over here and get my chainsaw, because from where we took those trees across the creek out, I didn't get them cut up, and they're too hard of a wood for me just to snap and break for the most part. And I just like running a chainsaw. Ooh, look at that thunderhead. I've got about 5 minutes and it's gonna be pouring, I bet. It might miss me, but I'm hoping not. I'm hoping it'll just flood and I can pile everything on that sucker at one time. Let's get it. You'll have that. Very last cut, I kicked the chain off. At least I made it that far. Seems like that fire's taking off pretty decent. Those bigger logs have gotten a little bit of fire going to them. So what I'm gonna do now is spread it out a little bit. That first thunderhead did pass me up. Let's let that thing breathe for a minute. I'm gonna grab some more brush, throw on there. This ought to be enough to really get her. I about messed up. I about pulled them limbs right around into me. Just like that. Get on there, jive turkey. Get you some. It just came a pretty heavy rain shower, so we're gonna load this sucker down now. And unfortunately, that rain that just moved through also moved through our new pond dam that we just built. And unfortunately, because I'm assuming because the grass has not had time to grow and germinate, there was some washing. We're going to head over there right now and check on that and see what the issue is. The only reason I'm leaving this fire is because it's burning extremely slowly. It's really wet fire. I'm going to pile the rest of these stumps on, and that too will help kind of retard the speed at which it's burning. I'm not far from that pond job, luckily. You know, this is just part of excavation and grading, you know, I mean, it's just, and that's part of building dams too. You accept that there's a chance that your erosion control is not going to have time to work. And you got to be ready to go back and redo it. That's going to help. It's starting to rain now, actually. And we'll come back by here before we go home for the day and make sure that everything's good here. just got over here to the pond build, and I think I know what happened. My suspicion is there was a surge of water, and as that water is going around each side to get into the collection, it pulled straw off that bank, which collected in the trash rack. Trash rack did its job. Did its job too well. This one's on me. I thought I left the straw up high enough above the water line, but I didn't anticipate it to come a surge right away. You can see where that water came up and grabbed this straw and washed. So it didn't come up too high, but enough to make an issue. Oddly enough, if you get down close, all the grass seed's still on the bank. It just pulled the straw away. They told me when they got here that the trash was all the way to the top of the rack. Did just a little bit of washing down through here, so they're okay with me taking some stone and lining this, and I'll tie it in, make it look nice. It'd be easy to think I should have done like a woven germination bedding, but that stuff has straw in it too. It wouldn't have been as bad, but I think there's a good chance that it still would have broke that stuff loose. As heavy of a flow as there was through here, I'm not positive on that one. My current solution, what I'm going to try is I'm going to go down through here and grab all of this straw, since this stuff's staying wet anyway. I'm going to pull the straw up off the bank. I'm going to clean it out of the water. I'm going to clean completely around the trash rack. And I told him I think that we should just wait, give it a couple of weeks and see how much grass comes up on its own without us getting straw, at least where it can get sucked in to the trash rack. I might be nearly over my boots. I went down through there and I pulled the excess straw up, and I'm fine with that. Check this out. I don't know if you guys can see this. See that little green? See if I can get a hold of one. Look at that. 3 days. Camera's having trouble focusing. There it is. That's a grass seed. I think it might be rye. That's how long the root is after only 3 days. Got the little grass sprout on the top. You can see they're standing up. That means that taproot is that deep already. I'll show y'all what's happening here. As debris collects, the water level just rises and rises. That's why these take so long to clog under normal circumstances. Watch this. Listen to that flow. This whole pond is about 1 inch higher than it would normally be. So by the time I pull all this out, we're going to have a gusher. Look at the current that is generating. Let's pull the board up here. This thing will be clogged up at that high by the time I carry this little towel over there and back. You talk about a heck of a skim filter. It is absolutely pulling every bit of the debris that's on the top of that water right in. That water, I can hear it slowing down, and it's not because the water level has dropped. It's that all that stuff is clogging back up, and that water level is equalizing. Look at this. It's already about 5-10 minutes, I'm not really sure. It's already backed up about 2-3 inches. That's how fast this water level is coming up. Let's build a real quick little makeshift rock dam that'll kind of expand our filtering ability, but it's really slowed down on the amount of material that's coming in. I feel good about taking off. Back over here at the burn job, let's go over and see how these stumps are doing. It must have absolutely poured while we were gone. The ground is soaked, water puddles everywhere. Stumps are burning good. Just gonna restack this real quick. turned the flow up to my thumb earlier so it'd slam the dirt out of the bucket when it got stuck, and I forgot to turn it back down. Put it back to 10%. Let's see how that does. Yeah, that's more like it. Doesn't take a lot of flow. I'm going to save that brushy stuff and that brush over there in case I need it to help this fire get going again in the morning. I'll just go ahead and throw some of this bigger stuff in. Well, it's taking all that rock and working around with that hay. Got me smelling like the backside of misery. That's a big old bunch of logs. We just took that one down a week or two ago. I don't even remember now. It's wet, so they can just sit here and smolder overnight. Big junk tree. Want to burn, but it can be in there and smolder anyway. Let's get this thing stacked on up. Let's stick that in there. That wasn't very graceful, was it? Now I'll get all of this picked up and on the fire, and that should be good for today. What I'll do is set this guy right here, so hopefully it'll just burn in half overnight. Oh, don't you do it. Stay right there. Perfect. And with this, the last of the stumps. One on the fire. Well, last of the stumps for this round will work anyway. So we can get him set right on top. Stay put. Perfect. 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 What's left of these logs, I don't want a high fire. So I'm just going to kind of lay them in there where they'll lay against that dirt wall. And they can cook. And when I restack tomorrow, they'll be bone dry, if they're still there. Actually, move this one up here. I doubt these logs are going to catch. I'm going to stick them on my little ramp there and let these just kind of cook overnight. When I go to restack tomorrow, they should light right up. I just don't want that fire getting too big too fast. And the way it's just kind of smoldering, I don't think that fire is going to get raging so much that it's going to climb out of there. It'll be fun to see in the morning what's left. Even if it does ignite these at some point. I mean, that's a pretty cold fire for what it is. Enough for that cold of a fire to ignite it. A lot of it's going to be burnt down anyway. So that suits me. As far as what we got piled up there, I don't think there'll be a whole lot left. Buried in the ashes. But as soon as I pull it out, it'll ignite and we'll be ready to rock and roll. Isn't that a lovely little fire? They'll be able to smolder overnight. One of the things we learned in Boy Scouts, anytime you're going to have a fire, you clean up around your fire pit to where it can't get out of control. So I've been dragging brush from the pile toward the fire and littered the ground. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and clean this ground up. That way overnight, the heat can't ignite it. Now there'll be some stray sparks, but as much as it just rained, I'm not concerned. I mean, it is soaking wet out there. So really, I probably don't even have to do this, but I'm going to anyway, just to cover all my bases. Be as safe as possible. Safe and cautious. Alright, I'm going to finish tidying up, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.